Alright, this begins our second lesson, at least our video lesson, on the deliverance. Lessons for our deliverance. In part 1, we talked about Luke 14:26 through 27. Those of you who have not seen that video, we want you to go back to YouTube, the Forgive School, or go to the Forgive School site. Let's put that up again. The Forgive School, one word, .com. And you'll find lesson 1 in this series 105, or on Attaining Real Glory. So the lesson that you will see part 1 of is lesson 004, Attaining Real Glory. What is real glory? If we was to put that into a question, what is real glory? Well, Jesus is making it very clear that you can't achieve the kind of glory that he's talking about unless you're willing to, he says, hate all things and people. And by hate, he doesn't mean meanness. By hate, he means put God first. That's what he means. He also means live in the moment. Live in the moment. So these two things, actually we list them in our lesson as, this is the first thing, live in the moment, live moment to moment, and then the second is putting God first. But really, when you think about it, you've got to put God first. If you put God first, you'll be able to live moment to moment. Let's move this up and add a little bit more to it. We obtain real glory by, and we're going to reverse our numbers in our handout. We had live moment to moment as your first thing that you have to do, but really putting God first. So our key words, these are the key words, what we call takeaway key words. By the way, when you see this broadcast come on, you're going to need 3 things. You're going to need your Bible, you're going to need pen and paper, something to keep notes in. I would suggest a notebook of some sort so that as you watch the videos, you're able to keep up with what's going on. Keep in mind, what I like about the videos is that you can always stop them or rewind them or review them, and that they're anywhere. You can go to them on an app, in the airport, or on a bus, or at home, or by your bedside. All you have to do is have access to the internet, and you got it. Now, those of you who want copies of these broadcasts in the form of a CD, we'll tell you how to get those a little bit later. So, we're saying that many of us become imprisoned by who we think we are in God. We get imprisoned in our name. We get imprisoned by our identity, our denominational belief, or religious practice. We get imprisoned by society, our race, our country, social status, class, or group. And in some previous videos, we talked about the 5. Let's put our keywords up here before we do that. I forgot the keywords are God first, and moment to moment. And we can just use the word moment. These are our keywords. God first, moment to moment. Keywords. Okay. Now let's move back. What I was telling you about in previous lessons, we gave you the 5 stages of mind. And this was very helpful in laying out very clearly what we're talking about when we talk about living in the moment and obtaining real glory. Let's draw our pyramid here. my Bible class know clearly where I'm going with this. The first stage is the pre-mind. Pre-mind is from, let's see, pre-mind from 1 to 6, we said, years of age. And then we gave you the second stage, which is a very important stage. It's called a collective mind. The collective mind. Now this is the mind of society, the world. The mind of society, with all of its layers. Mind of society with all of its layers. Okay? And when I say all of its layers, we're talking about the parents, the teachers, the adults, the people who give you your name, the people who give you, would tell you what status you're in, the group. And then we talked about back to the individual mind. The individual mind. Let's get it right here. And then, and this is just the people around you, or should I say, not around you, but once you decide that you want, this is the formulation of the ego. And I guess that's the way we can put it. And then there is the universal mind. Let's just draw our lines here and put our universal mind here. And then up here, and we'll draw this out and call it God consciousness. God consciousness. And we're going to finish this over here. The ego and the universal mind is discipleship. Alright, now, everything begins here. This is birth. You're born into the pre-mind. By no choice of your own, you came into this world by the grace of God. You graduate toward the collective mind, which is the mind of society. You move up. And then, if you're lucky, if you're fortunate, and very few people are, they develop their own ego. Now, you may say you have an ego at the society level, but that's not really the kind of ego that's yours. That's society's ego. Then you move up to the discipleship stage. This is where you move through the individual mind. That's if you're lucky, because when you get in the individual mind, a lot of people get stuck right here. They can't get out of the individual mind. Most people get stuck right here. I would say 80% of the people on the planet are stuck in the collective mind. And I would say probably about 15% get stuck in the individual mind. Well, that doesn't leave very much at the universal mind. Maybe 3% here, maybe, and 1%. So you can see how challenging it is going to be to move up from birth to Christ consciousness. And that's why all these paths, these stages of the mind, are critical to understanding real glory. Because real glory comes from being able to achieve God consciousness. Real glory comes from a willingness to surrender and become a disciple. All are here. And what's interesting about that is that once you reach the stage of Christ consciousness, you revert back to the pre-mind stage, the stage of innocence that you came into this world. But the difference is you are conscious. You are aware of God. When the baby comes into the world, the baby is not aware. But in a short period of time, the baby becomes aware. All right, we've run out of time. We'll tell you more in our next video.